Welcome to the first ever Duffy Awards. I am here with Tate Frazier. My name is Mark Titus. Hopefully you've been following us along all year. If you're new to the program, my God, what a time to start listening.
I apologize in advance.
We are
This
so
is your first
sorry.
episode.
We are here to hand out the most important awards in the history of college basketball. There are many awards, as we know. There are many publications. There are many awards out there to be had, Tate. None are quite as prestigious as the Duffy Awards. Why don't we set the stage a little bit?
Right? Don't go there.
What?
That's a little too far, right? We got to earn it. This is our first Duffys. This is the first presentation. We've tried to blow this thing out. We did our best. We reached out. Nick Cannon agreed, right? We had
Nick Cannon was going to host.
He was going to host this. And then, unfortunately, Wad now called. He had to back out. And then we're thinking to ourselves, if we can't get Nick Cannon, who are we going to get? We call AJ and Free. They don't answer the phones. 106 and Park, they don't come out and help us. We call Bow Wow. He says he wants to go by Shad Moss. That doesn't work.
Call Travis Tritt. He couldn't do it.
We call everyone. We're reaching out to everybody. I mean, we get all the way down to Ryan Seacrest, and Seacrest is like, I got to go do E-News or something like that. And now it's just us. You only get the two of us.
You're stuck with us. But we are here. We are very excited. We have, how many categories do we have here, Tate? We are going to be handing out 12 Duffys today. Mm-hmm. It is a very exciting time. The people are on the edge of their seats right now listening. They have no idea what's coming. I don't think you and I have an idea of what's coming. And we planned this thing out. We are the ones giving out the awards.
And if you thought award season was over, it's obviously not. It stretches out now past all the way into April. This is no joke. This is a serious event.
Do we have like a monologue? Do we have
event.
a monologue that we want to do? Can you do a monologue with two people? I don't think so. I think that's called a dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a dialogue that we want to do to open the show?
I think we're doing it.
Is this what we're doing?
Yeah, this is what's happening.
How long do we have to do this? Are we going to keep talking?
I don't know. There's so many people in Staples Center staring at us right now.
Yeah.
All the concession crew, they're like, who are these two humans? Why do they have microphones? Why are they standing in front of us?
This went so much better in rehearsal.
Yes.
And then we came out and the lights blinded me and I got nervous and now this is the result. This is what turned up. So yeah, this is it. We're doing the Duffys. Let's get into it. You want to get into the first category?
Let's do it.
All right, Tate. The very first Duffy we will be handing out today is the off-court story of the year in college basketball this year. The nominees are
the FBI probe.
North Carolina, avoiding sanctions for faking classes for 30 years for their 3 national title winning teams and also their football team and also their basketball team and getting no penalty whatsoever, and also
the Rick Pitino saga, where he was stripping and then stripped of a title.
Tom Izzo versus ESPN outside the lines.
The Louisville 2013 banner coming down.
The Yahoo report of Christian Dawkins' expense reports, the spreadsheets.
The Sean Miller wiretap.
That may or may not exist. The 3 UCLA basketball players, only one of which anybody remembers, and even then, people forget his name. It's just Lonzo Ball's brother. But then those other 2 guys, when they shoplifted and then they got arrested in China, and then Donald Trump saved the day. But then he also was like, I regret doing that because they didn't say thank you enough. There's that story.
Yes, and then the Josh Pastner extortion. It has been a long, drawn-out saga across the board where it was first paying players, and now it's launched into another case. We all remember Josh Pastner.
So those are your nominees.
Story of the year.
And the Duffy goes to?
Oh, my.
The FBI, Tate.
Wow.
The FBI.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to the FBI. They have won the first Duffy. The big story in college basketball this year, the FBI scandal, it kind of like launched our brand, the dropping of the bags. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this before on the previous podcast we had called Teed Up, but this became, all the stars aligned for us to get very excited about the FBI probe. We were promised that college basketball, as we know it, would change forever, that there might not even be college basketball. Are we even going to play the NCAA tournament this year? Like, every coach is going to go away in handcuffs. The FBI is here to kick so much ass. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, I don't even recognize the sport anymore. Wait.
What?
Wait, that's not true. Nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing
happened.
September 26th, everyone thought that the world was going to change. The landscape of college basketball would finally be over, as we know it. And here we are. It's the exact
But my
same.
goodness, what a fun ride it was! Like I was there. The carrot was dangling in front of my face, and I wanted to eat that carrot so badly. Maybe something will come along.
It was a bombshell. We should say that.
There were many bombshells. There were many bombshells, and ultimately all the bombs were duds. But we don't know for sure yet. They might have cases. We have the one. I saw the story of the guy who was a bad guy. Who was taking money to funnel to the players, and then he just like kept the money for himself. And the FBI, like, I don't even remember the guy's name, but I just saw this story break the other day.
That's the ultimate bad guy move, because you're just keeping the bag for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're a runner if you're a bad guy. For a lot of these people, you're just in between. You're the middleman. As Frank Lucas would say, got to cut out the middleman.
He gets out of getting busted by the FBI. He also just gets to keep all the money for himself. It was just a brilliant. I guess. Spoiler alert: we're doing bad guy of the year. He should probably be nominated.
Yeah, he should be in the list.
Everyone knows his name, but yeah, that's it. Congratulations to FBI probe. Do you feel like there was a snub here? Do you feel like someone else should have won? I have my eye on North Carolina avoiding the banners, but I feel like that was a story that's been dragged out for years.
Yeah,
it wasn't really.
It was 4 years
story.
of people writing different reports saying they were going to need the death penalty, and then guess what we learned? The NCAA had no authority in the case, and that's why.
What about Louisville losing their title banner? That's the first time that's ever happened. Do you think the Academy?
In the words of Rick Pitino, you can never take away a national title, even though it was taken away and there's no banner anymore. But it can never be taken away.
So there it is. That's it. First Duffy off the board. Congratulations to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for basically just, teasing us, giving us blue balls all season about what was to come. And, I don't know. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe the FBI will win next year, Tate. There was not a satisfying conclusion to this. Maybe they come back in September again and they're like, this time, it's for
and we know it's easy to repeat, but a three-peat is tough. The FBI to get a three-peat will be
FBI
hard.
Bombshell 2, Electric Boogaloo.
The FBI gets the disease of more.
Yeah.
They've just had too many scandals, too many bombshells. They just can't handle it anymore.
So there it is. Congratulations to the FBI. First Duffy off the board. That's it. Now for our next Duffy. Go ahead, Tate. Present it.
Comeback of the year. And the nominees are
the Nevada comeback over Cincinnati when they were down 22 in the second half in the NCAA tournament.
The Virginia comeback over Louisville, down 4 with 9/10 of a second on the clock.
The Drexel comeback over Delaware when they were down 34, which I believe is the biggest comeback in NCAA tournament history, isn't that? Or NCAA history, I mean.
NCAA history.
Not tournament. Just general. That was a regular season game.
Yes, of course. Michigan State taking down Northwestern after being down 27. Chris Collins, 27.
What about Coach K? Coach K's comeback after he had to miss a game against Wake Forest because he was sick, and then he came back and he took his team to what they finish third in the ACC, second in the ACC, and also made the Elite Eight and also lost in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. So that was a pretty good comeback.
Pretty good comeback. Nice work, Kay. Coach Cal's kids.
Yep.
After losing 4 straight, they became guys at the end of the season. They made a nice little run. They thought they had a free shot to the Final Four, but they became guys. From kids to guys, the Coach Cal story.
We also have Sean Miller coming back after missing the game at Oregon where it looked like he was going to get fired. He very much did not get fired. He came back with a vengeance. He is nominated for the comeback of the year, Duffy.
Michael Porter Jr. for his back, literally his back coming back and getting into form. And not doing so hot, but he did come back.
That was a very good comeback. We also have Ted Valentine retiring in the middle of the season after, again, turning his back on Joel Berry.
Yes.
The people of the internet were bullying him. Frankly, it made me sick to my stomach to watch this happen, the way people treated him. He retired. He announced his retirement on the spot, and then he courageously decided, I will not let the internet bullies take me down, decided to come back. Very inspiring stuff.
TV Teddy, not internet Teddy, TV Teddy. Kyle making One Shining Pod t-shirts, an absolute shocking stunner of events. Cannot believe it happened. Granted, they were in prison font. Granted, there was only 30 of them. Granted, we could not even sell them. We had to give them out for free because they were so terrible. Kyle did make a comeback.
But that is a great comeback. That is producer Kyle.
Against all odds, Kyle. Good job.
No, One Shining Pod.
That's right. That's us. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And finally, Rick Pitino's press tour proving his innocence. That was an amazing comeback. I think a lot of people saw Rick Pitino got fired, and they were like, wow, get this scumbag out of here. But Rick has adamantly he has denied any wrongdoing while also accepting full responsibility. And I think he's won a lot of people over. I think the more we see him in front of the cameras, unfortunately,
I've never paid a player more than $5.
Unfortunately, he went on Dan Patrick's show today and said, I'm done with interviews. This will be my last interview. So are we going to get a double Rick Pitino comeback where his reputation has come back, but now we're going to get an interview comeback where he's retiring from interviews, but he's going to come back to interviews, then he's going to come back to coaching. It's when you're dealing with Rick Pitino, there's a lot of coming back.
When we get the Lost Pitino interview, like they just came out with the new OJ thing they never showed when he wrote the book, we're going to have that Pitino interview where he's going to be writing his book, and 10 years from now we're going to see him sit down and finally give his admission. Do we have a winner?
So those are the nominees. The Duffy goes to...
Oh, man.
A little bit of a shocker here, Tate. Ted Valentine wins
TV
the
Teddy.
Duffy. Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations
First
to
nomination,
TV Teddy.
first win for TV Teddy.
This was a story that I guess I see where the committee was the Academy was going with this decision. I personally I think Rick Pitino's comeback was a little bit stronger, but TV Teddy he has been a staple, love him or hate him or really really hate him, no matter how you feel about the guy. He has been a staple in college basketball for decades. We thought we were losing him. We thought this was it, and we didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. It just happened so fast. He turns his back on Barry. Everyone's, it's like he's staring at himself in the mirror. Has the game passed me by? Like, I just don't, how do I reach these keys? Like, I just don't understand this generation. And we just felt like it was over. That's what we talk about this all the time. Like, oftentimes the greats don't get to call their own shots, like how they're going out.
I will say this. I think the Academy just respected the statement of it all. The finality to say that I am leaving the game. This is such a hurtful thing and a stain on my career. I am willing to walk away from the game than to let this be my last game.
Then it was
to come back.
The redemption story of like
to go shake Joel Barry's hand in Chapel Hill and say, I'm
it's
sorry.
Inspiring stuff. Congratulations to TV Teddy. If it was my vote again, I probably would have given it to Rick Pitino because just the way his reputation has done a 180. Also, Sean Miller. That's a pretty strong comeback as well. But those are probably the notable runners up there. But yeah, Ted Valentine wins the Duffy.
Congratulations, TV Teddy.
On to the next category. We have the Cult Hero of the Year. And the nominees are
Buzzcut Brad from Wisconsin, Brad Davidson.
We have Pantelis, however you say his name, the ex guy. You know him as the kid, the walk-on kid on DePaul with the rec specs and the fun hair that like dances all the time. And yeah, you know the kid I'm talking about.
Of course. And speaking of kids, you know who we're talking about. The guy that takes charges is the son of a commentator, Andrew Dockage from The Ohio State University,
who hit a half-court shot against Michigan State. Do you think I'm gonna pause the nominees here to say, do you think when Andrew Dockage hit the half-court shot, like that story is going to spin into that was to beat Michigan State? Like, do you think when he's like 40, he'll be like, I hit the shot to beat Michigan State. I hit the half-courter to beat.
Yes.
I
in the same way that Dan Dockage's story has led to him shutting down Michael Jordan, yes, I think it will lead to that.
We also have CJ Baird, Michigan walk-on.
Yes,
who,
your boy.
Yeah, hit a 3 over Texas A&M in the Sweet 16. Also played in the national championship game. Had an unbelievable NCAA tournament run. Became a little bit of a cult hero there for a second.
Also got a rebound in the Final Four game.
Yeah, he did.
Or a block.
It was a block.
It was a block.
It was a block shot. Yeah.
A CJ Baird block.
Yeah.
Sister Jean, Dolores Schmidt, a woman that has taken college basketball by storm and has taken the Loyola Ramblers all the way to the Final Four.
She is also nominated. We have nominated the guy who ran the UMBC Twitter account and somehow like didn't have everybody hate him. I thought that was coming. I think the greatest thing that could have happened to the UMBC Twitter account guy was that they lost in the second round, because he would have very much been hated by everybody.
It was very slim staying power.
Yeah. So yeah, he had his moment in sun. He was a cult hero. He will be remembered forever.
Rick Pitino, also a nominee for Cult Hero of the Year.
Our final nomination is Swaggy Poole, Jordan Poole, who hit the 30-footer with the hand in his face to beat Houston. Wears the short shorts. Come to find out, like, as people started to, as the rest of America started to realize, like, who is this Swaggy Poole guy? You realize he's actually kind of not that good. Like, he doesn't play that much for Michigan. He's not that important.
But he believes that he's that important.
But he believes.
That's the whole.
And when they were down 7 against Loyola, Swaggy Poole talks to his teammates, and he is going to be. There's no question in my mind that Michigan fans will have turned on him by the end of his career. But
for now,
he's
Swaggy Poole.
Absolutely beloved. So there are your nominees. And the Duffy goes to Tate, brace yourself. Sister Jean.
Wow.
She did it.
What an upset.
She did it. Sister Jean, Cult Hero of the Year. You can't argue against
what
this.
What a rise. Yeah.
You can't argue against this. I know that you famously said, I hate Sister Jean. I wish bad things on her and her family and everyone she's ever loved.
Yes.
You said that on this podcast.
Those are all quotables.
I'm sure we could pull the clip.
Those are not summaries.
But,
those are not paraphrases. Those are direct quotes.
But you can't deny what she became.
She became an icon. She became a face for Loyola basketball, and I think this is what she deserves. She deserves to be a cult hero. I had no problem with her being a cult hero. I had a problem with her being the face of Loyola basketball as they tried to win a title. Now that we've passed that point, that's not going to happen. Cult hero is perfect.
Cult hero is perfect. My understanding of cult heroes, though, are almost like you don't really get to the mainstream, really. And I think, if you want to make an argument, if you want to be a Sister Jean hater, and I know you do, Tate, you could say that she was too mainstream for this category.
I will say this. They say do not worship idols, and I think Sister Jean made herself an idol that was worshipped by many, and, I don't know.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. And being a cult hero, I don't know. That's tough. Like, does she want this?
Are you calling out Sister Jean's theology right
now?
No,
I'm not.
Are you saying
cult hero, Sister Jean? Give it to her. She earned it.
Congratulations, Sister Jean, on winning the Duffy. You check your mail. It'll be coming in 3 to 6 months. When producer Kyle makes the merchandise, he's also going to make the trophies
to send
out. So any day now, those things will be put in the mail. Moving on to the next category of Duffys, the bag drop of the year. This is we are doing, spoiler alert, bag guy of the year will be coming. And you're asking yourself at home, you're like, what's the difference between the bag drop of the year and the bag guy of the year? And I'll tell you, the difference, this is sort of like the director of the year versus the
best
film
picture.
Best picture of the year, Like the bag drop is the act, but that doesn't necessarily, a lot of times they go hand in hand, but not always. So just keep that in mind. We have the bag drop of the year. Are you ready to get to the nominees?
Yes.
Okay, the nominees are
Marvin Bagley's early enrollment to Duke University.
When he just skipped a grade.
Yeah, smart guy.
And and he was 17 years old and just
honestly,
at the snap of a finger.
I think it might be the greatest story in college basketball history.
It really is.
But I will wait. I'm going to wait a little bit before I say that. I'm going to let it marinate a little bit before I get in on that.
It really is. The guy's a damn genius.
He is.
Like you said, if a normal kid did this, you would be voting for. You'd be like, how can we vote for this man for president? That he
would be the next Barack Obama.
He can skip an entire class of high school, fly across the country, and get into one of the most prestigious private schools in the country. It's an unbelievable story. So congratulations, Marvin Bagley. He is nominated. Also nominated, the Porter brothers to Missouri. Michael Porter Sr. getting hired onto
all three Porters.
Three Porters.
Yes, all going down to Missouri.
Big time backdrop move there by Quanzo Martin. That's nominated.
Sharif O'Neal. Taking his talents from Arizona. In light of the Sean Miller fiasco and the wiretap, he decided within 36 hours to change his commitment from Arizona to a fellow blue blood in the Pac-12, UCLA, right on cue. He does the whole celebration video with Shaq at his house. They do the whole dance. Congratulations. You've been nominated, Sharif O'Neal.
Steve Alford just swooping on in. There's there was like you said, 36 hours of what is going to happen to Arizona, and all of the commits backed out. And instead of Shaq's kid going, oh, okay, so nothing.
Let
really
me wait out
here.
for due process.
Let me wait it out for due process. He was like, oh, perfect, my opportunity. I'm gone. I'm gone. Like his allegedly, we will say, perhaps maybe one might argue, his check was already cashed from Arizona. He had already cleaned his hands of that one. So he's like, how can I do a little double dip here, perhaps?
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes.
So yeah, that is one nomination. Another nomination, Zion Williamson. Jeff Capel dropping the bag for Zion Williamson to complete the most loaded class in the history of college basketball. That Duke now has the 3 top prospects coming into next year, and Jeff Capel's not even going to be there for them.
Live on ESPN, puts on the Duke hat. Every single person going into this event believed that he was going to go to insert school. Duke was probably one of the latter teams that people talked about, and he joins the Brotherhood, and it becomes a staple. Zion Williamson.
Big time backdrop there.
Rick Pitino landing the easiest recruit he has ever pulled into the University of Louisville this past summer. Brian Bowen commits to Louisville. Rick Pitino goes on radio shows, boasts about how easy of a recruitment it was. What a nice addition to a team trying to win a national title. Little did he know, landing Brian Bowen would lead to so many different stories.
Funny thing about Brian Bowen is that he's also nominated twice because Brian Bowen ended up at South Carolina after it was discovered that Brian Bowen was asking for $100,000 to go to Louisville. Frank Martin swoops in, gets him to South Carolina. So that is all. Brian Bowen has 2 opportunities here to clinch a Duffy. Congratulations, Brian Bowen. Congratulations on also just being named in every single NCAA scandal that existed this year. Like there was like a women's water polo scandal where they had too much cream cheese on their bagel and they got it for free and they owed an extra $1.27. And somehow this happened at Stanford, and somehow Brian Bowen was implicated in that report. I don't understand it.
It's also impressive. Brian Bowen is like, you know how Timothée Chalamet was in every single movie that was up for an Oscar? It's the exact same way.
Yep.
Brian Bowen is going to be in every story, and he actually could be implicated in every story if we really want to get down to the bare bones of it. The next nominee is us,
Yes.
the Duffel Bag Boys. At the 3-on-3 event this year, we threw out $50,000 worth of cash and a briefcase.
We threw out $100,000 worth of cash.
$50,000 we threw out, and then we had a briefcase with another $50,000 that we threw up in the air. You know, technicalities here, but us bad guys.
A little bit of a conflict of interest, I would say, but you can't deny. I mean, if you're objectively viewing what we brought to the bag dropping industry, you cannot deny it. We have to be nominated.
It was a literal bag drop.
Yeah, and we were letting guys making it rain on national television, so we are nominated. And then also just honorable mentions. These guys aren't nominated, but they need to be mentioned. Drake for the God's Plan video. We discussed this on the podcast. And George Clooney for
giving out all of his friends $1 million.
Literally giving his friends bags of $1 million. We debated about this. Should we include these guys in the bag drop of the year, Duffy? And we believe that we should stick to our principles and just focus on college basketball thing. Maybe this could be like the foreign film award type thing, like this separate category. Like
we have a separate event for this.
The outside of
all
college
the celebrity
basketball
stuff.
bag drop.
The image makeover of the year.
But Drake and
basketball.
Clooney are not technically nominated. They are not eligible. However, they did provide great bag drops. So those are your nominees. And the Duffy goes to, I don't think this is much of a surprise, Zion Williamson, Jeff Capel, and the Duke Brotherhood. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Zion. You did it.
Congratulations. So we did an emergency podcast when this happened. Tate, have your feelings subsided? Jeff Capel has left Duke now. When we did that podcast when Zion Williamson committed, the reviews came in hot and heavy. They were saying, "Wow, that was the most cringeworthy thing I've ever heard. I hope you guys are joking. You should just never podcast again. How about you show me some proof?" These were the reviews. Do you want to walk it back and apologize to the people?
I don't necessarily want to walk it back, but I do want to walk it forward, and that is Jeff Capel, a Duke defector now. And I will say that is really the bare bones of this whole conversation. The fact that Jeff Capel was there, he did all he could do. He got to the heights of bag dropping, and then he walked away from Duke. I think that's a beautiful story. Now that has sort of tempered my take on this. I thought that Jeff Capel was in the bag for at least 5 more seasons as he waited for K to leave. Now that I know he was a man on a mission to then get offered another job elsewhere, I'm just happy for Jeff Capel.
I walk nothing back.
Yeah,
I stand by every single thing I said in that because, again, a lot of people, I knew they would. They called us haters.
Jeff Capel may walk it back because now he put his head out there, and now he's not going to be there to reap the benefits.
When we talked about it when it happened, a lot of people, I knew they would. They called us haters, but I stood by it. I was like, I'm not a hater because this has not led to anything, and it's not going to lead to anything. Duke next year, I'm going to get sucked into it because I always do. I'm going to go in next year and say Duke's going to win the national championship. But I also, the smart part of my brain, it's way back there. It sometimes comes out, but it's telling me that I know Duke is going to finish third in the ACC. I know they're going to not win the ACC tournament.
But you know they're going to get hot right before the tournament, and everyone's going to kind of pick them as a sleeper.
So none of this talk about Duke's recruiting class was ever from a place of like, damn, how is anybody else going to compete with them? It was just more of like, damn, how is nobody else scratching their head over this? So congratulations, though. Zion Williamson winning a Duffy. He's not even in college yet. That's impressive.
Bag drop of the year. Congratulations,
Bag drop
Zion.
of the year. Moving on to our next category. This is a fun one. I think the people will debate this one. We will see. We'll have to see where this one goes. This one is called the Image Makeover of the Year Duffy Award. Tate, do you have any comments on this before we get to the nominees?
I will say this is a sprawling category. You can do something as simple as actually physically changing the way you look, or just changing the persona and the narrative around you, which gets us to our first nominee,
Grayson Allen, who came into this season as there's a lot of talk. Is this man the most hated college basketball player of all time? And what we learned very quickly was he's just misunderstood. He's doing interviews on ESPN. He's saying I've changed. The redemption tour is coming. That is not me. If you know the real me, I would never think to do these things. I took the summer off. He took a break from basketball. Everyone remembers he had the 1-game indefinite suspension the year before to clear his head. And then he gets the whole summer off. He's focusing on himself.
He's interning.
He's interning at companies
with Vic Law.
He is now he is now coming into this past season the senior leader on like one of the youngest teams in college basketball. He's going to play the Quinn Cook role. This is going to be a repeat of 2015. And honestly, that's kind of exactly what happened. We had no incidents this year with Grayson Allen. He certainly didn't try to trip anybody. He was pretty much a model citizen, was beloved by everybody. The transformation was unbelievable, and he called it at the beginning of the year. All the media were calling it. We have people saying that just the adversity that this man has to overcome. Like, can you imagine, Tate? Like, put yourself in his shoes for a second. To be just because you're a white guy that plays for Duke, everybody hates you. Like, I'm sorry, is that fair? No. The answer is no. And so he has all of this hatred pointed at him that he did not bring on himself at all. It was completely undeserved.
Until he put his butt out in the ACC tournament.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Forgot about that.
Okay.
Maybe
well,
next nominee.
You did enough.
Okay,
Grayson.
go on to the next nominee.
You're already there. The next nominee is Tom Crean.
Yes.
Head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, a man that was let go by Indiana University for not bringing Bloomington back.
You want to talk about sister meme?
Yes.
Tom meme was like, this was the greatest college basketball meme that ever existed. Tom Crean was the biggest punchline. Everybody was making fun of the guy. Gets the job at ESPN. It's basically the Tony Romo of college basketball this year. Calling out plays before they happen. Breath of fresh air. Everyone's like, we need this guy to call more games. This is awesome. Goes on Pardon My Take a few times. Everybody's like falling in love with his interviews there. The guy's become a media mogul.
And what does he do? He parlays that into a job at the University of Georgia. Now he's convinced himself that he is the biggest Bulldog fan of all time.
Yep.
He is going to gymnastics events. He is going to every single building on campus, not invoking 9/11, just talking about how much he loves how beautiful the campus is. Congratulations to Tom Crean. You've done it.
Tom Crean is one nominee. We also have Buzz Williams for growing out his hair. Image makeover of the year. Very deserving of this nominee. Kind of looks like Tom Hardy now. That's what the people say. Very bizarre, I guess. Like, I'm less excited that he has hair now and more just confused as to why he's been shaving his head his entire life up until this point.
Or did he do something like the Wayne Rooney thing where he does the hair plugs and
that could be it.
Everyone's wondering what he did to make this happen and why he made it happen.
Either way,
will it help on the recruiting trail? I mean, let's be honest. If it's you versus Tony Bennett in Virginia,
yeah, you got to look handsome.
Look at that salt and pepper hair that Tony has. You have to match it.
Yeah, you got to be handsome. So Buzz Williams, great makeover.
Next nominee is West Virginia's Javon Carter for going bald.
Going the other way.
He leans in, yeah.
Big time makeover. He, I don't know if it helped him look younger, but it made it look like more purposeful. He had a very ragged hairline, we shall say, last year. He was the guy that looked like he was 37 years old. Again, I'm not sure that shaving his head makes him look younger necessarily, but it just kind of
it made him seem secure.
He's locked. It brought it all together.
Yeah, he's like, I am the star of West Virginia. Yes, you are going to make old jokes, and no, I don't care.
And yeah, it just kind of it gave him an image that I really, really appreciated. So Javon Carter with the big turnaround. Next nominee, Bruce Pearl, who was. I'll be honest, I don't know how this man has a job. But he does, and not only does he have a job in this era of bag dropping and FBIing and violations and cynicism as at an all-time high. What a job Bruce Pearl has done at Auburn is what people have been saying all year. Just unbelievable that this man has been able to just sort of control his own narrative and all that sort of stuff.
And he was able during the NCAA tournament run where everyone was talking about teams being underseeded because of the FBI implications and teams not making the tournament because of FBI implications. He ends up just talking about Charles Barkley picking Auburn and saying, got that one for you, Charles. Hope that doesn't mess up your bracket. That was the hardest hitting journalism done on Bruce Pearl.
This was a man at the start.
That's an image makeover.
This was a man at the start of his career illegally tapped the phone with a recruit, narked on Illinois, and then went on to commit NCAA violations
at
himself.
Tennessee, yeah.
And then now is like the belle of the ball. So unbelievable.
He's brought Auburn basketball back.
Unbelievable image makeover for Bruce Pearl.
And the next nominee is another man that has done a wonderful job making over himself this entire time, and that is Rick Pitino.
Yes.
The former coach of the Louisville Cardinals, a man, as we know, has worked very, very vigorously to let us know that he has never paid anyone more than $5. He has never done anything wrong, and the 2013 title will never be stripped. All of those are questionable.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
but the image is being made over.
The image has been completely made over. Again, we've kind of already touched on this. That Rick Pitino, when the day he was fired, I think everyone said, "What a scumbag." And now, as we sit here today, I think everyone's in kind of agreement. Like, we need this man back in college. We need this man around.
Some would say he got a raw deal. Some would say that.
We need this man back around college, young men to mold the next generation. I think he is the moral compass at this point. We have now learned by way of press conferences and tours and just him talking and no one really listening to him. That's so great makeover there. Another makeover that needs to be that has been nominated is Mike Dunleavy Sr., head coach at Tulane.
The Green Wave
He has shaved his head. He is wearing the pinstripe suits. He looks like a comic book villain, kind of. Mm-hmm. It suits him well, like being down there in New Orleans with that look.
He looks like the Green Goblin's granddad.
A lot of people forgot he existed. He used to have like the slick back hair with those he had six
Clipper days.
6 hairs on his head. Would slick it back. Looked a little tough. He's kind of just remade himself. He's flying under the radar. No one even knows he really exists, but the people do know he exists. He's like, damn, a coach with NBA experience in New Orleans, looking like that. I like that. I dig that brand.
With a little bit of basketball history down there with Tulane. Yeah. Image makeover. Way to go, Mike Dunleavy. And the last one, the final nominee for image makeover of the year, Villanova's own Jay Wright.
Jay Wright, who was the biggest choker in college basketball,
couldn't get past the second round.
Could never do it, and is now a genius. He invented small ball. He invented the concept of shooting threes. Just an unbelievable turnaround these last 3 or 4 years of Jay Wright, capped off by his second title in 3 years. Those are your nominees, Tate. And the Duffy goes to. This envelope's stuck. Hang on. God damn.
La La Land.
There it is. Tom Crean. Had to be. Always had to be. Tom Crean is back. He's back in the saddle, Tate. Going to coach at Georgia. We're excited about this. I thought he was going to UConn. He ended up at Georgia. Again, just an unbelievable turnaround. I think people feel guilty at this point making jokes about Tom Crean, and I can't believe that we've arrived at this point, given that I almost would feel guilty not making jokes about him. There would almost be a time where it's like, oh, it's been 3 days without making a joke about Tom Crean. I need to make a joke. Now, I don't know if I'll ever make a joke about the man again. So,
congratulations, Coach Crean. I think you got a great job with Georgia, and now he can sort of fly under the radar. And he's going to become best friends with Coach Cal, because every Georgia coach, as we saw with Fox, just is best friends with Coach Cal.
Moving on to the category that I find I'm the most excited for this. This is going to by far the most competitive category we have. It is the excellence in journalism, Duffy. Just the best work. The overall, there are a lot of journalists out there, a lot of guys covering the sport. Tate and I aren't the only ones. And let's just get to it, Tate. We start with some might say the favorite, but this is the first nominee, Mark Schlabach, covering the Sean Miller wiretap.
Breaking
the story. The story
on
of
the
college
bottom
basketball.
line. Sean Miller is on a wiretap saying that he has reached out to DeAndre Ayton, specifically named DeAndre Ayton, in order to pay him $100,000 for his services to come play basketball at the University of Arizona. That is what is reported. That is what is discussed. That is what is put out there to the world. Unbelievable job there getting the scoop on that one. Congratulations to Schlabach for the nomination. We also have the next nominee, Jeff Goodman of ESPN. He goes to Lithuania to trace down LeVar Ball. Yeah, he found his balls in Lithuania. He did. It was a little chilly out there. He figured it out. He chases down LeVar. LeVar has brought him into the circus of the LeVar Ball family. He gets him on the Facebook show. He has him, interviewing him over there abroad. Has him meeting all the coaches. LeVar Ball actually coaches a game in Lithuania somehow. It was a ball showcase. And, Jeff Goodman for going all the way to Lithuania for this. In the middle of the college basketball season, taking a week and a half to go to Lithuania to report on. Over Christmas. Yeah, over Christmas. Great journalism there from Jeff Goodman. We also have Doug Gottlieb writing his personal account of the time he stole credit cards. Story we all needed. Putting that on The Athletic, using said credit cards to drop the paywall on The Athletic so everybody could read it. It was the story we've all wanted. We've wanted this story forever. We're like, hey, Doug, why would you do such a thing? As it turns out, listen, if you don't want to be spoiled, just stop the podcast now. Go read it. For the rest of you, the conclusion is, why did he do it? The answer is he was young and he wanted more money, and he just stole the credit cards because they were laying there, and that was it. That was the story. But he's sorry. I thought that. And now he's sorry. We knew that, right? But now he's sorry. I don't think people knew that. So he's sorry now. So Doug Gottlieb is nominated. Next up, the next nominee is Doug Doty, and that name may not ring a bell, but he is the famous reporter that asked Ty Jerome after the UMBC loss if he did in fact know that this was the first time a 16 seed would lose to a 1 seed, and Ty Jerome said, "Of course I know. Please shut up." A beautiful moment in journalism. Ty Jerome question. Fighting back tears. Yes, thank you. For a man who obviously knows he just will be remembered forever in history. Great journalism there. The next nominee is our
Big Cat and PFT commenter from Pardon My Take going to the Rick Pitino press conference in New York City, asking him about the time, if he could think of any instances and when he shot himself in the foot, and also asking him if he felt like his firing was premature. So just great capital J journalist over there.
That's hard-hitting stuff, folks.
It was great. Rick had no idea what was happening. It was answering it.
The best was that Rick he had this one moment where he kind of caught it where he was like, did you shoot yourself in the foot? And Rick Pitino stopped him as if he was going to get irritable. And then he was like, no, this guy's just using a canned phrase. And they said, could you repeat the question? And then it was repeated by PFT again. Did you shoot yourself?
PFT. The ball's on PFT. Like I would ask the first time. I would ask the first time. And then would Rick's like, can you say that again? I'd be like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. It won't happen again.
But that's why I didn't get mad, because if he had changed the question, then Rick Pitino would have known. But he kept it straight. And then Rick Pitino was like, this guy is just dumb and doesn't know what he means by this.
So congratulations.
Beautiful work.
Congratulations on the nomination to the Pardon My Take, guys.
Dan Dockage on Louisville and Miles Bridges throughout the season.
So Dan Dockage, if you don't remember, Dan Dockage
so good.
Was the one who broke the news that Louisville's banner was coming down, but he broke it like 3 months before it happened, and he said, I have a friend who knows a source who also has a friend source inside the room who said maybe it might happen. And then when Louisville fans challenged him on it, he was like, listen, I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. Back down. And then when it happened, he was like, I told you.
He said, you're welcome. You're welcome. Get your scoops from Dan Dockage always.
Great reporting.
And also, he said that Miles Bridges, this is during the Michigan State game, basically said that he was no good at basketball.
He has no game.
He has no game. Yes, yeah. He has no game. This is a man that has been perceived to be a top 10 pick since he decided to go play college basketball at Michigan State. And Dan Dockage gives us the nice journalistic take of the guy has no game.
We also have Brendan Haywood saying that the NCAA is there is a, quote, tinge of slavery with the NCAA. Just a great metaphor to use there. I think, like
it begs the question when you can use the word tinge.
Yes.
A tinge is a
just
slight.
a tinge, Tate.
Just a tinge.
One of the most heinous things in the history of this country. Just a little
history
tinge.
of a world.
Think about some of the worst things that could possibly happen. Take just like a little skosh. Just a skosh. Just a skosh. That's what the NCAA is. So great use of words there.
CBS, another nominee, they decided that they do want to show crying kids. This was the senior executive at CBS when asked about why they do this for college basketball coverage. He said it's a part of the platform. It's a part of the programming here. We will show you these kids crying.
They doubled down.
They doubled down.
We're absolutely going to show crying kids. Also nominated, Myron Medcalf of ESPN, who, going into the Sweet 16, reseeded
the tournament. The entire tournament.
He took all 16 teams left. He said, these are the best teams in order that are left. The 4 teams that he had at the bottom of these rankings, the 4 worst teams left in the tournament, then proceeded to all win.
On the same day.
On the same day, which was also the very first day of Sweet 16 action. So excellent journalism there from Myron.
The next nominee is Darren Revell for putting it out to the world and letting us all know that This Is March is, in fact, trademarked by your boy.
Our
John
favorite
Rothstein.
robot,
Yeah,
John Rothstein. Just great scoop there from Revell. Great scoop. We got to give a shout out to that. We also are giving a shout out to ESPN for the Trae Young stat counter. Great journalism, I think, to everybody. It was very well received by the masses to show, 6 minutes into a game that Trae Young has 2 assists and 3 turnovers and also has 1 foul and is 1 for 3 from the field. People were going nuts for this. This was excellent work by ESPN. One of the most innovative things I've ever seen. Have to throw them a nomination as well.
And the final nomination is the Duffel Bag Boys, ourselves. Play the clip, Evan. No one played the clip.
So there it is, Tate. That was us saying on Against All Odds with Cousin Sal that we picked Villanova to win the national championship at the preseason. So
this was classic us covering our bases. We get Villanova, who's going to win the national title, but we also picked Virginia, who was a team that was the best regular season team. So if you're one of those people that don't put much stock in the tournament, you care about regular season games. There's so many of those people out there. Everyone does that. And so we have Virginia, Villanova, both bases covered.
This is an unbelievable category. I wish I could give it to everybody. We cannot do that.
No.
We can only give it to
all be winners.
We can only give it to one person. Let's see what the winner is. Well, you certainly can't argue with this one. Mark Schlabotched, Arizona, Sean Miller wiretap. Congratulations on the Duffy, Mark. Mark Schlabotched has not tweeted Tate since February 25th.
Where are you, Mark?
Where did Mark go?
Safe to say, he was
in a lot of ways, this is inspiring stuff. This is how I want to go out. Like if this is in fact the swan song of Mark Schlabach, what a way to go out, to just like drop the biggest bombshell that we have ever seen in this. Like it might be fake, I don't know, but if it's true, it's the biggest story off the court in college basketball history, probably, that a coach at a top 10 school was paying $100,000 to a guy who's going to be the number 1 pick. It's unbelievable story. You drop the bombshell and then you leave. You go off on and do God knows what. Unbelievable.
My only hope is that it does come out that he was actually right and that we did have this wiretap, and then he comes back to Twitter that same day and says, "Told you so."
I hope he's gone, man. He's pulling it. Do you know? Do you know? No, I mean, do you know? Do you remember Sports by Brooks?
Yeah.
Do you really know that guy?
Yeah.
Who just like disappeared? He was covering, like he was right there with like Sarah Ganem covering the. I don't know if he was on the ground, but like he was covering the Sandusky stuff. Like that was what. He was the guy who was like getting scoops and stuff, and everyone like it was back in the era where like blogs were somehow credible, and people were like, "How is this guy like getting all this? How does he know everything?" And then suddenly he just disappears, and no one's ever heard from him again. That is my dream. I've said this to anyone who will listen to me, Tate. When I leave this profession, I am not going to have a send-off. We are not going to do a farewell tour. I will just disappear, and no one will have any idea what happened to me. That is my dream, to do the Sports by Brooks, to do the Schlabach, just fall off Twitter, and everyone forgets about you.
DB Cooper.
So we if anyone has an address, if anyone has any idea how to get a hold of Schlabach so we can send the Excellence in Journalism Award to him.
We'll just send it to Bristol.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll send
I'm sure they'll figure it out. Congratulations, though, on winning the Duffy in the most competitive field. Our next category, Tate, the press conference of the year. This is another competitive category. We should actually just play the clip so the people remember, right?
Yeah,
Let's
the highlights.
play the clips.
Give them the highlights.
Your nominees are, starting first with Sean Miller dropping the microphone when he sat a game out against Oregon. Arizona calls a press conference. They say, we're going to address this situation with Sean Miller, the Schlabach news, all that kind of stuff. Everyone, myself included, said, this is it. They're announcing he's fired. At the very best case scenario, it's like, we'll finish the season and then fire him. Sean Miller says this, though.
I have never knowingly violated NCAA rules while serving as head coach of this great program. I have never paid a recruiter prospect or their family or representative to come to Arizona. I never have, and I never will.
That is beautiful stuff. And I never have done it knowingly. The phrases and the words that he used, it was beautiful.
It was a masterclass.
Yeah, it was literally a masterclass.
It was one of the best press conferences I've ever seen.
How a man could be so innocent while also using so many phrases of a man that is guilty to keep him from getting in trouble. That was beautiful work by Sean Miller.
Another nominee is Thad Matta's retiring / getting fired / no one really knew at the time what was going on press conference, and you're saying this was not this season. This serves as a good reminder, Tate. The Duffys encompass the entire calendar year.
April to April, folks.
April to April. This falls into our window. Just a very bizarre press conference.
This university, this program means so much to me. And his friendship means the world to me. I want what's best for the program, and if it's not me being here, I understand that, and I respect it. But it's one of those deals that two types of coaches, you know who they are. So I just joined the other side today.
So Thad Matta is basically fighting back tears. He's saying how much he loves the university, but we are led to believe that this is him deciding that he wanted to step down. And he's like, the guy who's firing him is sitting right next to him, and he's like, I love this man. He's a good friend of mine, and I want what's best for it. It was just a very bizarre situation.
We like to call it a good guy move, and he does say that he has the utmost respect for the program. He would do whatever it takes to stick with the program, to help the program. You don't see that much.
He does help hire Chris Holtman insofar, like, I don't know what that actually entailed, but he was...
Well, he hired a guy that was at his
Butler,
school he was before, yeah.
I don't know how much he quote-unquote helped, but he was like, I'll lend my services to this. So, yeah, very bizarre press conference.
And if you didn't listen to the podcast where you discussed his ultimate ending with Ohio State, you go check that out because you give some nice stuff there.
I get passionate.
It's a nice first-person narrative. Yeah, I know. It's good. And the next nominee is the UCLA players. Wow, this is great. The UCLA players coming back from China after getting extradited from China after being on house arrest over there, or hotel arrest, as we should say. They come back, and then they are forcibly asked to thank our president, Donald Trump. Here's the press conference.
I'm grateful for this UCLA team that stood strong beside us and made it possible for me to be sitting here in front of you all today. I respect and admire all the hard work that they put in to get us back to the United States. I'd also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
I just want to say, it's so awesome that as he is about to thank the president, he kind of like, you can just tell he starts smirking and laughing because he knows he has to, it's like this written statement to say, I have to thank the president. That's just such beautiful stuff.
It was in that moment that the two biggest memes
LeVar Ball
of the last like decade, LeVar Ball and Donald Trump.
If you believe in simulations, this is the one time where I could buy into the fact that this is true.
God, what a press conference! Yeah, like these players are out there, and is it Leangelo Lamello, Lonzo's
Jello.
brother, whoever
Jello.
he was, Jello.
Who
cares? All my balls get twisted around. And I can't remember who's who. Lagello, whatever his name is. He's up there doing the Pitino thing too. Like if you actually go back and listen to the whole press conference, he was like, he said something.
I know I did something wrong in China, but I didn't mean to do that, and I didn't want to do that.
He goes, I am a young kid. However, that's no excuse, but I am also a young kid, and I take
full responsibility, but I am young.
I'm 110% sure I will never make a bad decision again the rest of my life. I will be a model citizen.
And it should be said, Chris Wilkes was supposed to be out with this group. One of their best players, a man that is testing the water now for UCLA, a guy from Indiana, Mr. Basketball. Some would say a Reggie Miller light at UCLA this season, and he could have been involved in this.
Well, no, if he was there, he could have stopped him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right, because he's a good man.
He's from Indiana,
right.
so you know he's a good kid.
Yeah.
Our another nominee, we got a couple more here. The Rick Pitino press conference in New York City, aforementioned, talking about the Part My Tate guys, asking the questions at the press conference. This was the press conference.
Well, thank you for coming. If I struggle reading this, I have vision in one eye right now, so I read it with one eye.
So that's the first part, Tate. We have
the
two
one-eyed
clips.
monster. There he is.
We have two clips we want to play this. He starts out saying, "I'm blind in one eye."
Yes.
So
I can't use my left eye.
We're just off. We're
so
off. To
automatically,
a hot
you
start.
feel bad for him, And the man called it himself. So there's no institution calling the press conference. Rick Pitino reaches out to the media himself, as the media mogul he is, and says, "I am having a press conference in New York City in an undisclosed location in a hotel lobby somewhere. Please come and please bring cameras."
And you're thinking, how could it get any crazier than Rick Pitino starting by trying to garner sympathy by saying, "I'm temporarily blind in one eye"? It gets weirder.
All the coaches who served on my staff today are head coaches. We all feel the same way, that the actions that took place in a very special dormitory named after my brother-in-law and my best friend here who I lost in 9/11.
Well, the man is a genius. The man is a genius. I hope it's not his last interview because we need more interviews. We need more commentary. We need more conversations. But to invoke 9/11 in this particular situation takes really the presence of mind of Rick Pitino to do this.
I've listened to that probably 50 times since it happened, and I still laugh just as hard now as I did back then.
And all the journalists in the room that did not laugh, you guys are true. That should be excellent journalism. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Other nominees: Leonard Hamilton after the Elite Eight, trying to explain his decision to not foul Duncan Robinson when it was a 4-point game with like 12 seconds to play.
I think that's what happened in that one particular situation that I have in my mind. That if we got a stop, we still would have an opportunity to score. If we fouled them, they would be up 4. We come down and we still would not be able to win the game.
I have no idea what that means. That was the takeaway. That was why this press conference is getting nominated, is because Leonard Hamilton was doing the Michael Scott, like, sometimes I start talking and I have no idea what I'm going to say next and just drag it on, and that was kind of his. He was asked, why didn't you foul, and he just kind of did that.
It made no sense, but he also used these like little like prepositional phrases in the same way Sean Miller did with like knowingly. He was like, in my mind. It's like use these little things where he has little cop-outs where like, from what I saw, from what was going on, from where I was sitting. It's like, no, Leonard, everybody was watching the same thing. What's going on here?
From my perspective, we were winning. I felt like we were playing better, so therefore we should be winning, and I didn't realize with the score. Great press conference. Finally, the last nominee is Chris Collins, Northwestern head coach, when he lied about Derek Pardon of Northwestern needing stitches because his face was bleeding.
Actually getting stitches live as he was doing the press conference, so that's why I couldn't answer the questions.
Congratulations to Purdue. They're a great team. It's a really tough place to play. Thought we played really well, you know, and when you can go on the road in one of the toughest environments and get outshot at the line 25-5 and have the ball to win the game, you got to feel good about how you played. So I'm really proud of my guys. I got to make it quick. Derek Pardon's getting stitches from Haas putting his elbow in his face. So I gotta get back there but he only shot 3 free throws. So I'm open for questions.
The best thing about that is, usually when a coach, this is the opening statement from Chris Collins as he sit down. This is the Big Ten starting early, so you guys could have your tournament in Madison Square Garden. So this is in December when this happens. They play Purdue. Usually when coaches, they'll say like the big guy, hit him with the elbow. Instead, he names Haas. He says what happens to Haas. He was upset because there was another review earlier in the game from an elbow with Northwestern. So he takes this whole attack and he pulls the sympathy card of, and Pardon's getting stitches right now. So the follow-up question to this, are you serious? Is he really getting stitches? And he doubles down and says, yes, he is getting stitches right now. And then 10 minutes later, Derek Pardon in the locker room, no stitches, taking questions like every other single player was doing. He is asked by the same journalist who had just been told that he was getting stitches, hey, Derek, are you getting stitches? And he goes, no, why would I be getting stitches? Amazing.
Great press conference. Those are the choices. To recap, Sean Miller coming back, the FBI playbook, saying we have the playbook. Thad Matta's very bizarre retirement / actually getting fired / I'm going to help them fire me press conference. UCLA players thanking Donald Trump. Rick Pitino calling the press conference that nobody cared about and nobody wanted, but he thought was really, really effective. Leonard Hamilton explaining why he didn't foul at the end of the Michigan game. And Chris Collins lying about his player basically dying on the court and all that kind of stuff. And the Duffy goes to Tate. Rick Pitino.
Wow.
Rick Pitino with a little bit of an upset. I feel like Sean Miller.
A shocker.
We called Sean Miller and we said, or we called the Sean Miller press conference. I certainly did, at least one of the greatest press conferences I've ever seen. But Pitino pulls it out. What do you think the Academy was thinking here? Like, why Pitino?
I didn't think we'd ever have the line Pitino pulls it out, but I will say this. The man does it again. He has become a Duffy legend right before our very eyes. He's one of the few men who can be nominated for every single category, and it completely makes sense. It actually was the way we steered these categories, was like, where can Rick Pitino fall in line here? And Presser of the Year, he has earned it. Congratulations to all the people in New York City who went and saw this live in person. I hope his left eye is better. But until then, we'll enjoy the ride.
Until then, you have this Duffy to hold on to. Congratulations, Rick. You are a Duffy winner for the rest of your life. This is one title they will not take away from you. I promise you.
We will never strip this away from you.
No matter what you do in your life, you will never lose your Duffy. Moving on, one more category here before we take a little bit of a break. The Coach K Disciple of the Year. We can go through this one quickly. We have Chris Collins, aforementioned. We talked about him in the last category. Northwestern was preseason ranked number 19. They go 15-17, 10th in the Big Ten.
After a whole summer of the Cats are back with Chris Collins feature stories in Chicago, yes.
We have Steve Wojciechowski, 21-14 at Marquette this year, finished 6th in the Big East.
Wojciechowski.
What did I say?
Wojciechowski?
Isn't that what I said?
No, I like Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski.
What did I say?
Wojciechowski?
What's the right way?
Wojciechowski.
Did I not say Wojciechowski?
The best thing that Woj has going for him is that he goes by Woj, so he's trying to do the K thing where like no one knows how to say his name properly. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Wojciechowski. Does that I don't
No, you're right. You're right. Wojciechowski.
I don't, coming from the guy who like you mispronounce everything.
Yante Mateen.
The only names you know are the Duke guys. Like you could say Krzyzewski and Wojciechowski.
I know all the Carolina
easily.
guys too, but we just don't talk about them on this program.
He had a fun offense at Marquette. Turns out you got to play defense at Marquette, so he finishes 6th in the Big East. Johnny Dawkins goes 19-13. Did not have Taco Fall at Central Florida. Bobby Hurley starts 12-0. Ascends to number 3 in the AP poll on Christmas.
The last undefeated team in all of college basketball.
They go on to finish 20-12. They go 8-12.
And play in the play-in game. And lose to Syracuse. Finish
8th in the Pac-12. They finished 8-12 with their final 20. And then finally, Tommy Hammacher, 18-14, won the regular season Ivy League at Harvard. Those are your candidates. Those are your nominees, Tate. We did head coaches only. For those wondering why we're not doing Capel, why we're not doing
John Shire. John Shire was a sneaky one this year.
The Duffy goes to Tommy Hammacher.
Wow.
Only conference champion of the group. Congratulations, Tommy. Bobby Hurley not only let the great season slip away, he let the Duffy slip away. This was his to lose. I thought he was going to get it still.
To put it in terms of the 2017-2018 season, it was basically like Bobby Hurley was the Trey Young of the Duke Disciple race. It seemed like he was going to be coronated. Everyone was going to say Bobby Hurley should be the next Duke head coach. He was going to be the #1 guy. He sort of falls apart. And who's there? Mr. Constant, Tommy Hammacher. And I would say he wins this because of the way he got covered. It was brought up that Tommy Hammacher was such an important part of Coach K's success at Duke because he was the first one. People forget. He was a man that wanted to go to Maryland. He wanted to play for Lefty Driesell. A guard by the name of Keith Gatlin came into play, and Lefty Driesell got a little enamored by him, ended up bringing him to Maryland. Tommy Hammacher decides he's going to go to Duke. He's going to set the tone for this 1983 class. They needed a point guard. Jay Billis is in this class.
So you're saying,
David Henderson's in this class, and he saved Duke basketball.
Are you saying that the Academy might have given the Coach K disciple a Lifetime Achievement Disciple
Yes.
award?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what this was.
But I mean, if you look at the stats, Tommy was the only one who won a regular a conference title. You know, he actually won a trophy this year, which no one else did on their list here. So, congratulations, you won another one. You won a Duffy. Congratulations.
And he's
Tommy
also
Hammacher.
a part of the narrative because Wendell Carter, that was the #1 thing they said, that he was down to Harvard and Duke, right? Those were the two schools. So Duke's trying to use Harvard to make sure that everyone remembers that they are an Ivy League program. Pretty good, Tommy. Good work.
All right, I was trying to I stopped because I was trying to figure out how to transition to to get serious. Yeah. What do you want to say? I'll figure it out.
And now on a more somber note,
we did lose some people this year, Tate. On a more somber note, that's what you just said. I don't know if you're gonna leave that in. Let's do. I'm gonna redo that. And now on a more somber note, Tate, we do need to pivot. And to those that we lost this season. This is the sad. It depends on how you look at it. It is a sad thing that we are going to do, but it is also a celebration of life, of what these people, what these things gave us this season. But this is the in memoriam of the 2018 Duffys, and I just think it would be good for us to pause and reflect on those that we lost along the way. Trey Young,
the Pac-12,
the Ukraine maker,
DeAndre Hunter's wrist,
Coach K's defense,
Duke's bag guy,
Thad Matta,
Rick Pitino,
Rick Pitino interviews,
the 2013 National Championship,
Tom Izzo's legacy as a March Wizard,
Ed Cooley's pants,
Grayson Allen,
J.P. Makura's sleeves,
Wisconsin's NCAA tournament streak,
Chuck Person,
Book Richardson,
Tony Bland,
Lamont Evans,
Isaac Haas's elbow,
Darius Baisley's commitment to Syracuse,
Billy Preston,
Tom Urich, or is it Jurich?
Mark Hollis,
Connor Frankamp's hairline,
Lonzo Ball's middle brother,
those two other guys at UCLA that also got kicked off the team, but nobody cares about because they're not one of the Ball brothers.
Red Panda's unicycle,
Hamidou Diallo's draft stock,
Kyle Guy's man bun,
ESPN's journalistic credibility,
excitement for Northwestern basketball,
the podcast formerly known as T-Duck, Kevin Stallings. All right, Tate, we're back. The Duffys are not over yet. We have 4 more categories to go. We have good guy, we have bad guy, we have coach of the year, we have player of the year.
Sorry, Kyle Guy.
No Kyle Guy. Kyle
if,
Guy was in memoriam.
If you lose to a 16 seed, you lose your category.
Kyle Guy, we gave his man bun a shout out in the in memoriam. So unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
you lose to
Jarris
16.
Lyles wins this battle.
I will not give a Duffy to So moving on, good guy. The nominees are Tubby Smith, who was the coach at Memphis and then got basically pushed out of Memphis because
like Penny said, it's a harder way to stay
Yeah.
at Memphis, and he took his job. He basically decided to form a mutiny and a coup amongst all of the recruits in Memphis and said that you are not going to play at Memphis unless I am the head coach. Tubby Smith was not able to handle this, and he was fired.
one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Everybody from the outside of Memphis is like, this kind of seems like bullshit. And everyone in Memphis is like, you don't get it. You're not from here. Penny is going to save us. Tubby's got to go. And it's like, but you just kind of like formed a coup there. Is that how you want your next coach to take over? Is that they're like, yes, it is.
exactly. It's exactly what we want.
So Tubby, very good guy, handled it graciously, tweeted something like, yeah, thank you to Memphis.
And as you pointed out, got another job at High Point. So
Yep.
congratulations
Yep.
to High Point University.
This
You
is
did
the
it.
high point of his life.
Oh, of course. And the next nominee is Georgia's own Mark Fox, a man that has somehow stayed at Georgia basketball for longer
We
than you
thought
can
he was a
even imagine.
cockroach. We
Yes.
thought no matter what hit Georgia, he would just still be there. He
Uh-huh.
would just because it was just like the perfect level of like he was good enough to just people would forget about him and just kind of.
Yeah, Georgia had a strange love for him, and we thought he could survive anything. And this year, he finally goes, the good guy.
He was good enough but not bad enough. He was just right. He was mediocre enough to not draw attention to himself for so long. But then finally, someone looked up and was like, "Wait, what? Mark Fox is still coaching us?" And he got fired. But he handled it graciously again with the tweets, with the thank you for my time at Georgia.
Yeah, everyone
You know.
did the fantastic work,
Yep.
Mr. Fox. That's what everyone did. The next nominee is Kevin Ollie,
Yes.
UConn national title
Great man.
coach,
Great man.
2014.
A lot of NBA guys coming out of the woodwork when this happened, when he was let go, saying I know Kevin Ollie personally, and he is a great man.
And why is he not the head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Yep.
Let's give him the job now. We'll see if that happens.
Also nominated Tony Bennett, who won the AP Coach of the Year. So if you're asking yourself, how did he end up on the good guy? Well, I don't know if you paid attention to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you're aware of this, Tony Bennett, but no 16 seed has ever beat a
I
one
am
seed.
aware.
Excuse me, Ty
Just
Jerome.
Ty Jerome, I am aware. I am very aware. We should say Ryan Odom, the coach that did beat him in that monumental upset, 16-1. His first quote when he was asked on radio, he was doing David Glenn radio show in North Carolina. They said, "What do you have to say about Tony Bennett?" He said, "I didn't get to talk to him long, but he is such a good guy."
Very good guy. Tony
That's all you
Bennett
need to hear.
handles losing with class and grace and dignity and like other words that all mean the same thing but like sound nice. That's Tony Bennett. Also, Chris Collins nominated for the reasons we mentioned earlier. Northwestern came into the season. It was a big season for Northwestern basketball.
This man was going to save Chicago basketball.
He was going to see. He was supposed to be Loyola. He was supposed to have the Loyola season this year, and he did not. He did not have the Loyola season, but he handled it well. He's going to throw out a first pitch at a Cubs game. That is a guarantee. He will do that this summer. Doug Collins will be there. They love Chicago. He's a very good guy. Does a lot of great things for the community.
Somehow they'll reference it back to like the early Chicago Bulls days, like as if they have Michael Jordan waiting in the wins.
Also nominated Andy Kennedy, Ole Miss's old coach, greatest coach in the history of Ole Miss basketball.
All-time winningest coach.
All-time
not a
winningest
joke,
coach.
folks.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's
Save
true.
that for your trivia.
Let go again. Handled it very graciously. Handled it. I care about my players, all that kind of stuff. Very, very good guy. A lot of people were sad. Anytime you get the it's time treatment, that's how
Yes.
you know he's a good guy. I was like, listen, we love you, but it's time. It's just time for a change, and that happened to Andy Kennedy. Another nominee,
Rick Pitino, former head coach of the Louisville Cardinals, gets ousted with cause. He had no idea that this was coming. He finds out, via report and the board of trustees that this is not the board of trustees that he knew. This was not the Louisville that he knew.
No.
The Louisville that he knows would never have done this to him. So he is blindsided by this.
Get this. His assistant coach is the one who hires the hookers. Pitino has nothing to do with any of this.
No
He
idea.
has no idea what's going on.
No.
It's an assistant coach goes rogue, hires hookers. They then go on to win a national championship. The banner comes down. We all know the story.
It's stripped, yes.
So Rick has every reason to go out there and say, like, I didn't know anything. I didn't know, it's certainly not my fault, anything like that. What does he do instead? He says, I take full responsibility. And that is why he's a good guy, because he did not need to do that. Even when the banner comes down, he's like, I feel bad for the kids. He never, at no point in any of this has Rick made it about himself.
No.
And that is what makes him a good guy nominee for the Duffy of the Year.
And the final nominee, another good guy, as we know.
Yeah, Thad Matta, we have to put him on here. You're getting fired. You're telling the guy that's firing you, you're his best friend or you're a good friend of his, and you wish him well, all that kind of stuff. just for the whole press conference, the whole way it went out, the whole supporting of the new coach. Like, that's not how we want to see it happen. Like Tubby Smith is a good guy, but he's not supporting.
He's not going to say congratulations, Penny. Here's
he's
my
not
job.
going to he's not going to hand him the throne and kind of usher in he's not going to help the coup out, But Thad Matta did that. Very good guy move. Those are your nominees: Tubby Smith, Mark Fox, Kevin Ollie, Tony Bennett, Chris Collins, Andy Kennedy, Rick Pitino, and Thad Matta. And the good guy of the year, Duffy, goes to.
Did he do it again? Rick Pitino?
He did not. Tony Bennett with the win. One game, Tate. Wow. It takes one game to erase an entire season. Who knew?
Welcome to the NCAA tournament.
That's how it
And
works.
Welcome to the world of being a fan of college basketball.
This is the business you chose, Tony. It might not be fair, but you are the good guy of the year. I don't know if you're aware of this. No 16 seed has ever beaten a 1 seed.
And unfortunately, no one will remember that you won the ACC by 4 games. But we will.
Completely destroyed the ACC.
Yes, we will.
Completely and won the ACC tournament.
We promise, Tony. Even though you're a good guy of the year, we promise to remember.
On to the category that everyone is most excited about. The bad guy of the year. A lot of options. There are only how many nominees do we have?
A lot of good directors.
6, 7 nominees.
Yeah.
The nominees are Rick Pitino. It's not.
We'll just leave it at that. I think if you don't know by now, he has every reason to be in this category. The man has earned it. Rick Pitino.
He has a few reasons to be.
Not only is he bad guy of the year, he should be brag guy of the year because the man bragged about dropping the bag and said it was the easiest recruitment of all time.
And also with Rick Pitino, we don't know what kind of bag we're talking about here, but he fits the bill of bad guy for various reasons. Sean Miller, also bad guy of the year. Depending on if the report was true or not, but we like to assume the worst because it's more fun. So, bad guy of the year, Sean Miller.
We assume the best as far as storyline, And like we said, as we say on this podcast, it's not personal; it's the narrative. We're not saying anything personal; it's about the narrative.
We cheer for content above all else.
Of course.
Also nominated Bryce Drew.
Wow,
who is landing
very under the radar pick here.
Very under the radar
pick.
Very well. I'm going to tell you why. For those who I pay no attention to recruiting, but I do pay attention to bag dropping.
Langford.
Stop it, Tate. Bryce Drew is compiling one of the single-handedly greatest class in Vanderbilt history. One of the best classes in college basketball at Vanderbilt. What'd you call me?
A Simi-Shitu?
Bryce Drew is dropping bags left and right, and he's about to drop a very hefty one and get Romeo Langford to commit late. But even without that, he's putting together one hell of a recruiting class. He deserves a nomination.
Congratulations to the Drew family. The next nominee, Jeff Capel, the new head coach of Pittsburgh, a man that has been right by K's side since he left Oklahoma after he decided he wanted to step down and take some time to learn from his master, his favorite coach of all time. He wanted to get away from being a head coach to learn from Coach K. Jeff Capel comes in, brings in not 1, not 2, but 3 of the top players in the 2018 class: R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, and Zion Williamson. Great work by Jeff Capel. And then not only does he do that, but then he takes the head coaching job at Pittsburgh, and now he is in the ACC as a head coach. And who knows what he's going to do?
He's going to overshoot it and win like 31 games next year.
Yeah,
like, whoa! How did this happen?
And they're all coming back. All the Pittsburgh players are coming back.
Not only, that's might be the most impressive bag that he dropped was getting all those guys back who said they wanted to transfer. Lorenzo Romar, our good buddy.
And we know what you're thinking. You're thinking Arizona. Well, you've already done this. This is redundant. You have Sean Miller. No, it's about Pepperdine.
He's coming home.
Yes.
He's coming home.
Yes.
Tell the West Coast, the 12 people on the West Coast that care about college basketball, that he's coming home to Pepperdine to drop bags.
There's actually 4 of those people in Malibu.
Yeah. Bill Simmons is one of them. Very excited about that. Lorenzo Romar. Maybe as I'm looking at it, maybe that's a preemptive nominee. Like maybe we should have saved him for next year's Duffy, but we'll say it anyway.
He deserved it.
He deserves it anyway. Also, Steve Alford is nominated for the aforementioned mostly the Sharif O'Neal thing. But just in general, the Steve Alford ways.
And the greatest thing that he actually did as a bad guy was actually getting rid of a bag, which was the Ball family. So it's kind of like flipped over since Lonzo. So he has Lonzo there. Then he has to take on the other 2 guys. Somehow he's weaseled his way out of this, which was genius, a smart play. It's what a bad guy does. When a bag doesn't deliver, you have to get outside the bag.
Finally, our final nominee is Phil Knight, who you might remember dropped the bag for all the Nike schools to come play in the PK80, gave them all sorts of swag, all sorts of new uniforms and shoes, and put on the greatest early
season.
season.
Flew them all up to Portland.
put on the greatest early season event we've ever seen in college basketball, where all the Nike schools, except a handful who decided to sit out, like Kentucky, decided not to go. But absolutely insane event. Everyone's celebrating his 80th birthday in November, even though the birthday is actually
February 24th.
Actually, it was in February. But we heard about that. Like when his birthday rolled around, like all the people were.
Everyone reached back out and made sure to wish him a
that's right.
Oh,
that's right. We never heard about that again. So, yeah. Great backdrop from Phil Knight that he's given out all this stuff out of the goodness of his heart. You think Phil Knight's in it for the money? No, certainly not.
No.
He's given all these universities gear, letting them use his Nike logo out of the goodness of his heart. And when his real birthday rolls around, does he even get a thank you? Does he even get a happy birthday? The answer is no.
All he got was a shirt that said Phil instead of Nike with a Nike check beneath it.
That's it.
That's strange.
Those are the nominees: Rick Pitino, Sean Miller, Bryce Drew, Jeff Capel, Lorenzo Romar, Steve Alford.
We know who this is, folks. If you don't know.
So you calling your shot? Who you saying?
I'm not even going to say it.
No, say it. Say
it. You know who it is. You know who it is.
And the Duffy goes to Jeff Capel.
Yes.
Is that who you thought?
Yeah, of course. What a move by Jeff Capel to go to Pittsburgh. What a move to get the top 3 guys. What a move to have K eating off his plate of, like, we can just run zone. It doesn't matter. These guys don't need to play defense. You know, we have the best players. We have the most talent. We're going to win with the most talent. And look where he is now. At a new job.
Do you think Capel was like the devil on K's shoulder? Yeah. And who would have been the angel on the
John
shoulder?
Shire.
Oh, John Shire's like,
course.
Coach, what about man-to-man? And Capel's like, we don't need man-to-man.
Yeah, it's like, we don't need to slap the floor anymore. Look at these alley-oops.
Now, hold on. They did slap the floor.
They can't help themselves.
They did slap the floor.
But that was like a nostalgia play. That wasn't because they wanted to slap the floor. You have to be lost in yourself to slap the floor. John Shire, he's that kind of guy.
As an aside, what do we think about Nolan Smith? I feel like he fits the Shire mold as well. Like he would be like an angel type, like this is the brand of Duke basketball.
If I'm Nolan Smith, I'm a little upset because, you know, I come in, I take Greg Paulus' starting job, I lead a team to a national title. I should be number 1 in command, you know?
Yeah.
I should be the guy. I'm the point guard. Coach K should rely on me. But instead, John Shire, a man that was right by his side, is now the associate to the head coach.
There it is, Jeff Capel, bad guy of the year. Not much of a surprise. We did have this was an instance of the movie of the film, the best picture and the best director were the same, but that doesn't necessarily. It's not going to happen next year at the Duffys necessarily.
But it's the same way. You know, you talked about directors. The work that Jeff Capel did to be bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go get these 3 guys, to go to Canada and get R.J. Barrett. You know, to go down to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and to ensure that Zion Williamson says he wants to join the Brotherhood.
To get the hell out of town before all the shit hit the fan.
Exactly.
That's a veteran
this
bad
man
guy.
Is a
he
genius.
knows exactly what he's doing.
Jeff Capel, good
Congratulations on the Duffy, Jeff. Coach of the year, our penultimate. Is that a word? That's the word, right?
Yeah.
Next to last.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. My God. I'm a writer. The penultimate award here at the 2018 Duffy Awards. Our coach of the year. This is a legitimate award. We are a legitimate organization. The AP has named their coach of the year. The basketball writers have named their coach of the year. All of them have picked Tony Bennett, I believe.
Do you have a vote?
I don't really. I did once, and then
what a snub. I hate that.
And then I got it taken away.
Give this man his vote back.
I don't.
He's writing all year. You're writing all year, man.
I know.
Come on.
It's all right. Coach of the year. The nominees are
Tony Bennett, the University of Virginia, a man that wins the ACC regular season, a man that wins the ACC tournament.
Uniquely qualified to win Coach of the Year and Good Guy of the Year. He's already got Good Guy of the Year under his belt. A lot of people are wondering.
2-time Duffy winner.
Could it be? Like, what a paradox that would be, to be a 2-time Duffy winner for, like, polar opposite awards. That would be wild. Another nominee, Jay Wright, you may have seen. He won the national championship. That's pretty good. He's won his 2nd national championship in 3 years. He has revolutionized college basketball. He's the head of the best program in college basketball, not only of the last 5 years, but like some are calling it the best 5-year stretch we've seen, and since the Wooden days, you know. And
some people who say that are idiotic. Let's hope that they don't ever say that again.
You like how I do that, where it's like you just throw some people in front of a comment, and it's like.
Some people are saying
if it's a shitty comment, it's like it wasn't me that said it. But if it's a good comment, it's like I totally said that. You know. So,
some people are also saying that our next nominee got nominated because we reached out to him personally and talked to him, and we can be bought with our vote. And I would say to those some people, you are absolutely correct.
You're correct.
Head coach Eric Musselman of the Nevada. Or Nevada, depending on what you'd say. Some say Nevada, some say Nevada. He takes the hoops team all the way down to the Sweet 16. Has these amazing.
Takes his shirt off. Drops 4 F-bombs on live television.
Yes, a man
has the family flexing behind him.
Has his daughter Mariah end up becoming a meme, a star? You know, going up against Sister Jean.
How is Musselman like 5'4", and so is Mick Cronin, and like. Musselman doesn't have the short, from what I can tell. I mean, but he doesn't have like the short.
Doesn't have a complex.
He doesn't have the Napoleon complex.
He's just celebrating.
It's unbelievable. You wouldn't realize that Musselman's like however tall he is until you see him next to the players, or he goes to shake Mick Cronin's hand and they just look eye to eye, and you're like, oh, wait a second. But that just shows how how good of a guy he is.
Yeah, and congratulations to Eric Musselman. Like Tony Bennett, Jay Wright, Eric Musselman. It feels right. Those are all 3 Coach of the Year candidates.
Well, no, hold on. There is one more, Tate.
Oh, really?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
More?
Rick Pitino also nominated because I don't know if you're aware of this. Louisville did not make the NCAA tournament.
No, 22 wins, didn't make the tournament.
Some people were saying that if Rick Pitino was still on the bench and Brian Bowen was there, this was a national champion team. This would have been enough.
That's no indictment on Dave Padgett, of course. No one say anything bad about Dave Padgett.
Whoa.
But if Rick Pitino is coaching this team, there's no way they don't make the Final Four. And you can lock it in. You can Sharpie that.
So this is a case of this to me felt like the year where like Peyton Manning got hurt and for the Colts and was out all year, and the Colts became
or Tom
terrible.
Brady when Tom Brady got hurt.
Well, when Tom Brady was hurt, the Patriots are actually good. System quarterback. I don't
Wow.
know. When Peyton Manning's hurt and the Colts suck, and everyone's like, everyone. I said, I was like, you should get Peyton Manning the MVP. I mean, he's proven how valuable the guy is when he's not out there. They suck. That's why Rick Pitino might be our coach of the year. He is nominated because his absence proves how valuable he is, how great of a coach he actually is. Louisville would have won the national
It
championship.
made our heart grow fonder for him.
But there can only be one. And the coach of the year, Duffy, goes to Jay Wright, national champion.
Right logic, right pick. Congratulations, Jay Wright.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's almost anticlimactic.
Do you think Villanova was the best team all year?
Yes.
Do you think they were better in Virginia
Yes.
before the NCAA tournament?
Yes.
You're just gonna say that?
Absolutely. Yes.
I don't like this. I don't like this retroactive thing.
I'm not even saying it's retroactive. I just think it was right in front of our nose, and we didn't want to convince ourselves that it was possible.
Okay.
We didn't think.
No, I'll give you that.
That's what it was. We tried every single way to say, well, this team will slip up in some way. There's no way they could win 2 and 3 years.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say Virginia was the best team all year, but then I'm going to throw the caveat because Villanova had like their injury problems and stuff. Like if we just saw like the full, and Pascal was out for at least one game. So yeah, I don't know. It's just funny how like Virginia was obviously the best team all year, but then now Villanova was the national championship. Like Villanova was the best. I don't know. I'm
saying that as someone who is an ACC homer, but after Jairus Lyles, I can't say it anymore.
I think Villanova was the best team at the end of the year. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a fair statement.
One more Duffy to give out. Should we go to commercial?
Duffy.
No, or just plug through it?
Yeah, we'll just go.
We'll
okay.
just
we're losing on. Oh, we're losing the audience. Okay, we'll just
go through it. We'll just wrap it up. Just get to the end. Okay. Just it's the player of the year, Tate. The national player of the year, the One Shining Podcast national player of the year, one of the probably the most prestigious award that any single player can win in college basketball. Do you have anything else you wanted to say to hype this up, or should we just get to the nominees?
I'm just saying it's One Shining Player of the Year.
Ooh,
that's
like
the P.
That.
Yeah.
Our player of the year nominees are Jalen Brunson.
Congratulations, Jalen.
Who swept all of the national player of the year. Some are calling him the favorite in this category of the Duffys. If you listen to the podcast, though, you might. You're
already on. You're kind of worried.
You're a little worried because
Tate
like,
and Mark Titus come around? Is he going to be back on the Jalen Brunson?
I've had a few days to think about it. Am I now coming around on Jalen Brunson to say he is the player of the year? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the Academy has decided. Jalen Brunson is nominee number 1. Our second nominee is not Jalen Brunson.
Ooh, interessante.
That's it. Those are our 2 nominees, Tate.
Oh.
And the Duffy goes too.
Wow. 50-50 shot here, Jalen.
Not Jalen Brunson with the upset. Wow. Congratulations.
Devontae Kaycock. Congratulations to all.
Congratulations to every player in the country not named Jalen Brunson on winning the One Shining Podcast, winning the first ever Duffy for player of the year.
I guess you can do a parenthetical and be players of the year, One Shining Podcast.
This is like the 1987 Iowa team all winning the Maui Invitational MVP. They gave it to every single player on the team. That is a true fact. You can look that up. Not Jalen. A little bit of an upset, I would say. I mean, even in you know how we feel about Jalen Brunson, how he's not even the best player on his own team. But you know, he's swept in the awards. You felt like he had the award momentum. That would
especially after the Jay Wright win. You were going to say, well, Jay Wright's guy is Jalen Brunson. You know? Here it is. It's all playing out. But not Jalen Brunson's a pretty good answer. I would say.
Jalen Brunson's pretty good. I mean,
covers the bases.
You got Marvin Bagley in there. You got DeAndre Ayton and Trae Young. Like I think not Jalen Brunson. You put them all together. That's a hell of a player.
Yes.
That is one hell of a player. So. Congratulations
tell
to
me
not
Tell
Jalen
me this.
Brunson.
Is Jalen Brunson going to stop all those guys? No.
He's not. What a night it's been here at the Duffy Awards. The first annual, some might say inaugural. I don't know the correct term for that. First ever.
First
and
ever.
only ever.
Yes, the only one ever. Possibly never to return.
Congratulations to all our winners, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Ted Valentine, Sister Jean, Zion Williamson, Tom Crean, Mark Schlabach, Rick Pitino, Tommy Hammacher, Tony Bennett, Jeff Capel, Jay Wright, and not Jalen Brunson, on all taking home Duffys tonight. It has been an incredible night. I will certainly remember this night for the rest of my life. I am ready to get out of this tuxedo, though, Tate. We have been wearing these for a week straight.
Yeah, it's been rough.
It is. We smell. We are disgusting. Are there any parting shots you want to give before we wrap this up and wrap up the season once and for all?
Let's give out some notable snubs, some guys that did not make any of these lists. Patrick Ewing for saying, "Have you ever shot that shot?"
Yeah,
one of
he
the best
didn't. Yeah, he
lines
was
of the
not.
college basketball season, a guy that was not nominated
Not
for any
nominated for
Duffy.
anything.
Maybe next year, Pat Ewing, we believe in you.
What about Alabama when they played 3-on-5
Oh.
and their entire bench got ejected from a game against Minnesota, and then they kind of like started to come back?
When Ingram
I
fouled
felt like
out,
I
yeah.
felt like they got snubbed on comeback of the year. Like even though they didn't win, I felt like that should have been nominated.
Yeah,
That-
another
that's not-
nomination that we missed out on. Roy Williams tries to tear a jacket. This is a man that has thrown a jacket. This is a man that has taken off a jacket. Never has he torn a jacket. This year he tried. He failed, but shout out to him for trying.
This year he also tried to make the Sweet 16 and he failed at that too. So
Well, they won the title in
Interesting.
2017.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
People forget.
yeah, living in the past there, Tate.
Yeah.
Another nomination is basically the whole battle for Atlantis. How Purdue and Arizona both just crapped the bed in Atlantis, and we should have got like Purdue playing Arizona and Villanova. Like all three of those guys were in the same tournament. Villanova cruises. We were robbed of that. I'm gonna call it and say that springboarded Villanova's season. That if Villanova loses to one of those teams, they do not win the national title. Just because, like, if you live in a hypothetical world, you can say whatever you want, and no one can challenge it.
And we
so.
should also point out DeAndre Ayton returned home to Nassau to play in front of all of his friends and family.
To
This
get
was his
his ass
homecoming, and he lost 3 straight games at a hotel
That
in
should have been a
Nassau.
comeback
Yeah.
of the year nomination of coming back home to get your ass kicked for DeAndre Ayton.
Pretty good. Marcus Howard, Marquette. Shout out to Marquette University. He has 52 points, hits 11 threes. That was probably the highlight of Marquette basketball this year. Shout out to Wojo. That was a fun time for Marcus Howard.
I want to shout out to I feel like he got snubbed. Tate Bates Diop. I felt like he had a good, just objectively, like one of the best years this season.
Say his name. What's his nickname?
Tate Big Dick.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought we had originally planned to give out a redshirt Junior of the Year Duffy Award, but then I realized Mikal Bridges is a redshirt junior.
it really ruined
I was like,
it.
damn.
Yep.
How many qualifiers could I give this thing? So, Tate Bates Diop was not nominated for anything, and that devastated me. But you are gone but not forgotten, Tate.
Speaking of devastation, Notre Dame basketball, that team, the Maui run that they had when they upset Wichita State, Matt Farrell, Bonzi Colson, Rex Pfluger, the big trio, those guys, we really believed in them. We thought that they were going to take Notre Dame back to a Final Four for the first time. Had some injuries to Bonzi. Matt Farrell became our best friend down in San Antonio. So
Matt
shout out to
Farrell
Matt
said
Farrell
this. Matt Farrell said this about somebody
on their team. We're not going to say who it is.
Period.
And there were so many super seniors that we're going to miss this year. Javon Carter, Devontae Graham. This Notre Dame team.
What a season
close to
it's
our
been
heart. Yeah.
for One Shining Podcast. The Duffys, we hope you enjoyed it. We certainly appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate everything. This concludes the 2017-18 season here at One Shining Podcast. We are closing the chapter. Everything that happens from this moment forward is eligible for a 2019 Duffy. Tate and I are going on vacation. What is the plan from here, Tate? Tell the listeners.
The plan is to come back in about 3 weeks, and we are going to have no fame, no listenership, no ad revenue, no nothing.
We got to start from zero.
And
build it right
we
back
got to
up.
work our way back to the top because that's what
It's
it's about. Every single year, you start from ground zero and you work your way up, as Rick Pitino has told us so many times.
Drake said started from the bottom. Now we're here because remember how Drake dropped the bag and then I became a
'Cause-
Drake fan.
Yeah,
I
that's
started
right.
listening to
Now
his
you're
music.
into him.
He had
Yeah.
that one star. He's like,
Yeah.
we started down bottom. Now we're up here.
Let's hope we get back there.
Tate and I are going on vacation. Thank you for listening. We will be back at some point. We will continue the podcast throughout the summer, doing NBA draft stuff. We will do summer league stuff. We will do really whatever the hell we want to talk about. But the podcast will continue. I'm going to hang out in the wilderness. I'm going to national parks. I might just pull a sleigh box / Sports by Brooks Tate and just disappear and never come back. I don't really know. You're going to Italy. We're going on vacation. We'll come back at some point. Just subscribe, and when we pop back up, it'll be a nice little like, oh, They made it.
Welcome back.
Oh, they're back. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the most fun college basketball season I've ever had in my entire life. Do you have anything else to say before we wrap up the Duffy stuff?
Ditto. Same thing. It was awesome.
You just told. You're just
yeah.
Whatever.
I'm jumping in on that.
Right.
I'm doing this.
I'm
doing the Jeff Capel thing where you have all the foundation. I just jump in and throw a little bit, and then it'll be good.
That's that. Thank you guys so much. Save the crew.